I think that there's an extraordinary amount of talent with the diaspora generally. In fact, I think that there is an extraordinary amount of talent that each of us knows beyond the extent of this room. I don't know how, but if I were running this, what I would do is I would commission the board to come up with a structure and ask the government to jointly propose a way that there's some unification between that talent and what happens here. So I think that it would be a good idea to start small. I think that you could start with a couple of ministries. You can't do this with big steps. It would be a good idea to start with small steps. So you could start with the finance ministry. You could start with the finance ministry, and you could start with how is it that the talent in this room could bring what it is that they know in terms of ability to assist that particular ministry. You could then go to the tourist ministry and see how it is collectively that this group could assist that. And I'll just stop at those two, but this group collectively throughout the year with your guidance and the board's guidance could come up with a couple of white papers similar to a thesis or a dissertation that we could present to the government. And I think that an official presentation to them where we would say, this is what it is that we have to offer, where they would be required to officially respond to what it is that we suggest, would be something that would add some teeth to what we're doing, so that they recognize in a more official capacity the nature and extent of the talent in this room. The nature and extent of the talent in this room. Because the power within this room and the power beyond the boundaries of the people who sit in this room is as magnificent as the people who sit in this room when we leave. And I'm not sure that they have realized the nature and extent of that. So that the only way that that can be realized is if it is given to them in writing and presented to them in a fashion, and I think that we are capable collectively of getting that to happen. So I don't know how that can be done in a resolution. But it would seem to me that over the next 2 years, that if I were on the board, and believe me, I don't want to be on the board, but I can give you some ideas about how to do this, that would be my mission. I would say, you know what? I want to have a major impact about how it is that I can bring what I was talking a little bit about yesterday, about how I would bridge this gap. And it's almost like a poker game. Here's my card, here's your card. I'm going to force you to accept and acknowledge that we have something to offer. Are you taking it or aren't you taking it? So that when we meet again in 2 years, there are more people here listening to what it is that we have to say. You know, let me just say in closing, you can talk, and you can talk. And you can talk, and you can talk, and you can talk. But when you talk, someone has to listen. And I think over the next 2 years, this group is more than capable of getting the people who are in power in this government to listen to what it is that we have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Pappas. Ms. Karamali, yeah.
Ναι, κύριε Πρόεδρε.
Marietta Karamanlis from France, Europe. President I heard with great interest what my colleagues said. Apologies. I heard with great interest what my colleagues said, and I agree with Mrs. Pappas. I believe that the resolutions that we can bring here must have been a little discussed. I am new, so I don't know how this works. I'm just giving you my idea. Because if we all arrive here with resolutions that we have not first discussed, and second, if we have not checked whether these resolutions are compatible with the ideas expressed in WHIA. Yesterday we spoke about international human rights, education, training, values of Hellenism, and we, as I said, mentioned international law. If these are the topics that we agree on, then the resolutions may come out of these topics or maybe in relation to these topics. But we only have 2 years, and 2 years is very little time. So I believe that as Mrs. Pappas said, it would be possible for us to discuss amongst ourselves, first of all, what is the program that we want to produce, what is it that we agree on. And, of course, we can discuss with some ministries and the government in order to do politics step by step, and each one of us can find his or her part to play instead of receiving resolutions that are undoubtedly correct, as the ideas of our colleague from Jordan, but they could take us away from priorities that we want to have as a body today. So this is my viewpoint in order to avoid duplications with other organizations. In Orthodoxy, there is this organization, there is the Council of Europe and other international organizations that actually promote orthodoxy and its role in the world. So we don't want to duplicate, to have overlaps between what we do and other organizations do. So I think that we need to be realistic. President, this is my opinion.
I know in front of you it's been passed out. We want to